In this anime-style RPG game, you play as an occult-obsessed high school girl who convinces her friends to do a ritual that goes horribly wrong. And no, I'm not talking about Corpse Party. Project Cat is a short story-based puzzle game with horror elements throughout. A typical playthrough will take about 45 minutes, but the multiple endings can bump that up to an hour if you're curious enough. The title screen has a beautiful music box theme, accompanied by a picture of our protagonist, Cat, holding an envelope. The many red threads wrapped around Cat and the envelope can symbolize being trapped or tethered by one's fate. Something interesting about the settings is that you can go with classic RPG controls or WASD controls, which is usually unheard of in these sort of games. Starting a new game puts you in control of Cat, where you'll get a quick tutorial on how to interact with the world, along with simple puzzle solving elements like using items from your inventory. Here's where you learn the most crucial part of Project Cat. There is always another way to progress. The game really forces you to acknowledge that your actions have consequences. Replaying this portion and taking all the flowers instead will give you a different cutscene where the weird creature thing is less antagonistic. Now, I did compare this game to Corpse Party in premise alone, but Project Cat quickly creates its own identity within the first few minutes. Each character shows their personality within the small amount of time you have with them. Cat is a snobby know-it-all and it totally fits her design. Let's not forget about Pretty Girl, Quiet Girl, and Ponytail Girl. You do eventually get to know their names, and they even have their own personality as well, but only if you go for this route, so be sure to save often in order to see the multiple endings. I absolutely love all their character designs and interactions. The production value really makes the whole experience for me, from the sprites all the way down to the appearing text audio. And talk about that music. Absolute killer soundtrack. You explore the school at night in search of various items in order to perform a ritual. The school is quite small but is jam-packed with detail. You can pretty much interact with anything. You can literally draw a butt on the chalkboard. How you gather the ritual items is completely up to you. When you have to find a lock of hair for the ritual, I had zero thought about cutting my own hair to progress. I simply snuck behind my classmate and snipped a lock of her hair instead. Do you want to look through this girl's notebook? You can. Did you feel bad about it, so now you loaded a previous save so you don't have to feel judged about invading someone's privacy? You can do that too. Every decision can stack up on top of each other. Whether it has significance within the story is unknown, but play cautiously. I highly suggest combing through every nook and cranny within the school for the best experience, but remember to save often, because curiosity often kills the cat. You eventually gather all necessary items to perform the ritual, and whether you do it alone or do it with your classmates is up to you. Something interesting that I didn't notice until writing this script is that in the beginning of the game, you're told to go over the ritual notes that Cat made to refresh your memory. However, later in the game you can find the actual instructions, and in doing so, you realize that Cat missed a crucial detail. After doing the ritual successfully, Cat is transported to some other world with an eerie atmosphere. This part of the game reminded me of Lone Survivor, but nothing as intense as that game happens here. While I did get startled a few times playing Project Cat, I wouldn't say I ever got scared. That's what I mean when I say this is a puzzle game with horror elements. I don't think it was the intention of the developers to make a horror game, but to make an intriguing story. Hopefully I've talked enough for you to give this game a try, as I really think it's best played with your own choices in mind. Project Cat was a neat little experience that I would highly recommend for those who like this style of game. It's free, so there's no real excuse to not give it a try. The link to the game is in the description below. I did have a back and forth with the developers of the game, and they said to be patient with them for the full release of Paper Lilly, which is the sequel to Project Cat, as this is their first game ever. Please go support small devs by playing Project Cat, and support small channels by giving me a like maybe? And thanks for watching. Yes, I'm sick, and that's it.